Alrighty, good evening everybody. So I'm going to come at this from a slightly different perspective than you've heard from the product focused people. And this is actually very interesting for me. I haven't attended a developer session for quite some time, and that will become evident why as I get through the rest of my next few minutes here. But I'm going to give you a quick background of our company and what we do, why we are the easy button for you guys, because you're going to run into problems that you probably don't even know exist yet right now. I loved your question about security. I love the question at the back somewhere around compliance and audit and all that sort of good stuff, because this is where a lot of you are going to, depending on the company you work for, the size of the company, the type of industry that you're supporting, you're going to come up against some of these issues. And as I was just sitting there listening to the conversation that we were going through, I realized that I could literally give this talk to a number of different departments in any large company, because these things are literally going to apply to everyone. So I'm going to try and take the generic nature of it and I'm going to apply it to your workloads and what you're doing in the development space. And that will become clear when I give you some history of the company and kind of where we've come from and what we've done. So my name's Rob Stevens. I'm the CRO for a company called iTmethods. We're a 20-year-old company, and for the last 10, 15 years, we focus very heavily in the DevOps area, around tooling, around providing services, managed services, professional services to our customers. So today we support a number of tools, JFrog, Coda, CloudBees, Jenkins, you name it. Anything in the software development lifecycle, we support that. But our business has transformed over the last 20 years every time there's been a new iteration of something. 10, 15 years ago, it was, hey, we want to consume JFrog, but they don't have a cloud version. That's okay. We'll create a version for you in the cloud. You can consume it for us. Fantastic. Now what's happened is companies have evolved and they've created their own public cloud version of those products. Pick whatever product you want, from Atlassian all the way down to the smallest. And although that applies and works for 90% of companies, enterprises with compliance goals, regulatory controls, etc., they can't use that, right? And where we've been brought in is we deal with the largest financial institutions in the world, across the UK, Ireland, the US, Canada, and regulated businesses. We actually have one of the big top 3 Canadian banks. And we work with them to give them the audit and compliance rules that they need for their software development stack. And the AI initiative and the AI growth, we're going to run into that. You guys are going to run into that, because you're going to get started to ask some of these tough questions. And we're the easy button for you to be able to kind of get over those things. So we've started to develop a new platform. We've started to develop new services. And it's really just to support the future of AI innovation. Now, all of you lovely folks are developers, right? Anyone not a developer? Oh, one person. You're in the wrong room, sir. Is there anyone from marketing? So, dev tools. Perfect. Great. Is there anyone from finance in the room? Oh, shit. Okay, cool. Anyone from marketing? Sales? Support? HR? Well, guess what? They're all in another session. And they're all trying to find out how AI is going to work for them. Because their CFO is saying, how can we run more AI tools? What can we do? How can we do things better, faster? Marketing have been asked how they can get more leads in, how they can generate more ABM campaigns, how they can get the BDRs work. Everyone in your company is looking at how they can use the AI tools that you want to use and that they want to use, but there's someone above all of them that is raising this flag saying, oh my God, we're at risk. Sorry? No, you go for it. Audience participation is welcome, feel free. AppSec, exactly. Another annoying people, right? Everyone is going to start asking these questions, and they are asking these questions. I was down in one of the towers recently, and literally the DevOps toolchain operators, they own CloudBees, JFrog, Atlassian, and there's one other tool that they own. They said, oh, we are getting compliance coming to us, asking us for reports. And we're saying, well, you're the tool owner, give us the insights. No, I just operate the tool, I don't have the compliance reports. So if that's going on, and the audit's going on around your software development lifecycle and your toolchain today, imagine what it's going to get like in the future. And we're having these conversations with others in marketing, in finance departments, saying, How can I satisfy the bean counters, the security people, anyone that needs to worry about something, so we can go there. We work with a number of vendors. Yes, sir, question?
What if someone builds like a dark web of agents and then attacks your system? Who do you call?
Ghostbusters. Sorry, I couldn't resist. She said, who do you call? It just
But you know, like, how do these companies tell you on paper that, you know, you're good, you know, you did everything, but they don't even know what's coming. Someone wants to come up with someone attack, it's all lies.
100%. So let me get through and I'll come back to you, I promise. By the way, I'm supported here with a bunch of the team from the company, from our company. We have deep technical people, we have our partnership team, we have a bunch of others. Some of the tools that I've mentioned today, customers will not go to their SaaS version, right? Because they're reading the terms and conditions. There was a comment, I think, from Dimitri, who was talking about using it for learning models, right? Some of the vendors are using that, your intelligence, your interaction with them for the learning models. Some of them are getting away from that. If you look at what's happening in the industry now, especially with some of the big players, I think OpenAI a couple of weeks ago said, we're now providing a self-hosted model, right? Deploy us into your accounts. Tetrix, I heard, can be deployed into your accounts. That's great, but I still don't want to manage it. I want it in my AWS, Google, Azure accounts. I want it in my data center, but I still don't want to manage it. And by the way, what's going to happen is there's going to be a new iteration of something, or a new agent, or a new model, or a new component that I need to add to that tool chain. How do I get over that, right? That's where we're coming in. And our business has evolved over the last 20 years, as I said, with a heavy focus on DevOps over the last 15. And we're seeing that evolution again. So these big financial institutions that we're working for, they're asking us these questions. They're asking us to solve these questions for us because they are now being told, their software developers are now being told, no, slow down. This pony is going too fast, right? We don't know where it's going, we don't feel safe, we've got marketing, finance, all the people that you don't think about necessarily are also coming to the same people and saying, we need this tool, we need that tool. Is everyone familiar with Liza? Liza? Anyone looked at Liza? Go look at Liza. Liza's open source right now. They are going through anyway, they're going through some interesting progress and growth. They've created a framework for agents. So the developers get the developer agents, the finance team get the finance agents, and similar to what Dimitri was saying about role-based access controls and limiting those things, in that model, finance could never see the co-developers agents or the HR development agents, etc., etc. So you're seeing all of these different kind of models coming through loud and clear. As I said, we've heavily focused on the DevOps tooling. We're now very heavily focused on the AI-assisted development. Please speak to Vinod, the gentleman at the front here. He's built a bunch of demos and a bunch of working environments for customers, and we're providing that today. One of the things that we're constantly asked for is, how can I get Coda up and running? How can I get SolarCube up and running? How can I do this stuff? You guys are developers, you may have deployed some stuff, some tools, but you want to get out of that business. That's where we're just providing the easy button with the security that we're compliant, we can give you reports, we can answer all the hard questions, and go and speak to your AppSec groups. And others, if you need to. Oh, I'm there. This one? Hello? Hello? Okay. Shall I start again? I'm just joking. Everything's moving too fast, right? There's a new agent, there's a new model, there's something new coming out. And as consumers and individuals, we get hit by that all the time. You guys in your swim lane are being hit with all the new developments. How do you want to plug those things in? How do you want to try those new Lego blocks? How do you want to try that new model? How do you want to try that agent? And how are you going to be able to keep up with that? So that's what we've been struggling with over the last year, 18 months. And that's why we created our iTmethods One platform for you literally to plug in a new model, to you to plug in a new agent, to you to plug in a new widget, a new gadget, whatever you want to call them. But you are protected with the security, the governance, the compliance that you're going to need. And depending on which industry you're in, you've probably got a lot of different rules, okay? That's fundamentally our approach. The concept of air-gap deployments, this concept of keeping your, I think Dimitri was talking about it, you've got your data bus, you can put your own data in your own accounts, you can deploy the application there. That is coming back with a vengeance. Who's old enough to remember what ASP stands for? Pop quiz? What is? I am literally the oldest person in the room. No one else knows the answer. So,
Active server pages.
Active server pages. That does stand for that, but that's not what I was thinking. Anyone else?
What was an application? application service provider?
Application service providers. Mike actually works with me, so that's not really fair. Application service providers. That was cloud before cloud was a thing. That was companies offering their infrastructure to offer you an application so that you could consume the service from that application. It was cloud. It's just come full circle. And now what we're seeing is SaaS applications, and you see even Satya Nadella and others coming out saying SaaS is dead, and this is dead, that's dead. It's actually true in many ways because companies now, they can't trust what's actually going on and they need it deployed in a self-hosted manner. And we're seeing that time and time again, especially in the industries that we represent. Compliance ready and governance. I think I've done that to death. I think you get the idea. How do we do it? We want to be the easy button, right? You can read this. And as I just looked at the slides a second before I got up here, I'm like, literally I could deliver this to a finance department and talk about their AI model as well. It is the same. It's just the same problem that we're all now facing. It's similar to when the cloud came because everyone's like, what is the cloud going to do for me? How can I make sure the cloud is secure? I spent 6 years at AWS and 13 at Microsoft. I lived that world. I get it. And the hesitation was the same across all different parts of the businesses, right? Whether it's HR, finance, developers, etc. Our role is to make you as productive as we can, but whilst keeping the people asking you tricky questions at bay. That's what we're trying to do. That's it, folks. That was it. No demo, no flashy slides, just me. Please come and speak to the smart people afterwards. But don't stand up, you're the smart person. This handsome looking gentleman.
All right, now it's time for some questions.